Chapter 9. Faceless was up and moving before Jessville finished the final syllable. Irrational, malevolent hatred filled him with an all-consuming, murderous rage. Nothing would stop him from killing Jessville. There was nothing in the world that would prevent him from obliterating the man who confessed to being a profaner. He would be providing a service he believed finished during the profane wars. His only desire was to rid the world of the man sitting in the chair before him. Somehow, Jessville had escaped him and fled to Joram. The man was hiding in the world's deadliest and most violent seaport. This is why he never concerned himself with searching seedy acres for a person who could wield Nist. Now, however, he would not stop until everyone who held the hideous abomination within them was dead. Jessville was moving backwards as Faceless came out of his chair, darkening the window and door from prying eyes. The blade meant to kill him rested against his neck instead of slitting his throat. He would never have believed the assassin could be manipulated this easily, but the proof was in the steel against his skin. He knew the admission would garner a reaction from the power within Faceless, but not the total control it held over the man. Rix was dominating Faceless' mind, negating the pact of his personal safety. He could use this against the assassin, but there was nothing to be gained from it. Should word of this ever reach the general population, Joram would become a target for every thief and assassin in Los Sanders. Faceless's reputation and two-tooth laws were the only thing standing between them and the rest of the country's consortiums. The profane wars waged against the Hartar of Uzlan were the world's most egregious atrocities in recorded history. The Hartar could not control the power, turning into evil, insane creatures who destroyed everything in their path. Whole tribes were murdered if a member held Nist within themselves. Even innocents were killed just to ensure the reviled energy never surfaced within that clan again. Burning, impaling, and any number of depraved methods of murder were used against the small stoic people who roamed Uzlan. Faceless was now held under the sway of Nist's enemy. Though the two powers were once a single energy, they warred against each other in a fierce battle of eradication. Thousands of years these wars were raged across Shanguros, killing hundreds of thousands without remorse. Rix and Nist, in their blind hatred, destroyed entire civilizations. The world had been thrown back into an age of stone and steel time after time. Being controlled, unable to stop it from happening, was a devastating shock to the emotional well-being and intellectual pride of each person who was burdened with it from birth. Someone like Faceless, a man used to being in control, finally felt the helplessness and hopelessness of being a victim. It changed the person forever. What direction the man would take was directionally proportionate to how much damage his pride suffered while under Rix's control. And Faceless was a man of monumental will. Regardless of the outcome, the assassin was going to be colder, more calculating, and mistrusting than he was at present. "I was beginning to wonder if you would present yourself," Jessville said. "From the moment you walked into my shop, I knew there was going to be trouble. I almost believed my premonition was inaccurate. And I would never have imagined someone could stop me from killing them when I had the drop on them," Faceless retorted, his voice rasping from his mouth. "Why am I unable to finish you off, Warlock? How are you keeping me from completing my task?" Faceless, without your control, would have stood a better chance of slitting my throat. It is his profession. Self-defense, where you are concerned, Rix, is always paramount when dealing with you. My second sight warned me of danger, and here you are. Combine a cautious nature and the gift of foreknowledge, and I will survive long after you are extinct. "I should have taken control of this body as soon as I entered the building," Rix said through Faceless's lips. "You would be released from that current body, and I would be free to leave this one and seek another. I will, eventually, kill you. Even if I must wait another decade, century or more, I'll keep slicing away the pieces still roaming this world. That would defeat the purpose of Faceless's visit. Jezebel remained perfectly still. He felt a single drop of blood take shape around the tip of the blade where it rested against his neck. Another instant, and this conversation would not be taking place. Need I remind you of my previous statement? Have you become dim-witted since our last encounter? I miss the days of our wars, Rix mused aloud. The Hartar stood their ground and fought until the end. Those stoic people were perfectly designed for Nist's insanity. Destruction beyond imagining raged across Uzalun for centuries during the Profane Wars. Why did they have to exterminate everyone who held our power? And how are you so well prepared? Jezebel sighed. Talking to Ritz was equivalent to talking to a stone wall. The power inside Faceless was asking questions, but was not listening when they were answered. Rix had become the way Nist was millennia past. Insane, malevolent, and bent on mutual destruction. Even while under Rix's influence, Faceless was conscious of what was being done and said, and it was the first time the man experienced the real power of his magic. We covered this twice now, Rix. Jezebel held up his hand, casting a small cantrip to keep Rix from interrupting him. It would not last, but the few moments it would hold would provide a window for him to continue. A cautious nature and second sight. The ability developed out of necessity to survive. It warned those of us left when we were being hunted, and by whom. Now in your lust to destroy Nist, you have become the nature of Nist in truth. Rick should be hunted and destroyed before it can bring back the Profane Wars. Was this why you spoke with such aplomb? Faceless asked in control for a moment. Were you hoping to elicit the reaction you received? You know what I am capable of, and still you made the decision. Why? Jezebel was confused by the emotion that Faceless's predicament provoked. It was sympathy. Pity for the most prolific killer in the world. I would have kept the information to myself had I known this was the reaction. I assumed you were in control of the power flowing through you. My cautious nature was nowhere in evidence from my assumption and subsequent admission. I now realize the mistake and will not repeat it again. Why can't I move? Rix demanded, back in command of Faceless. You should not have the strength of magic or the energy to hold me, profaner. Really? Profaner? Nist is the power behind the name, but has nothing to do with why you are held in place. My second sight warned me of the danger this morning, and I prepared accordingly. I knew who was coming to my shop and adjusted a few things to ensure I survived the encounter. And a good thing, too. Faceless's reaction speed would have been the end of me, but with you in control, I was able to release the trap. I know your filthy power is the reason, Rix replied. I want to understand how you can hold me when I am the dominant energy. Dominant? I hold more power than you by a fair margin, Jezebel explained. Twisted, malevolent, hateful power. Jezebel watched as Faceless's eyes lost their luster for a moment. The man was fighting against power that was thousands of years old, and would win in the battle within a surprisingly short time. You have always believed yourself superior, Rix, and this has been your bane for millennia. There was a time you would never have used a person to commit murder. You always found a way to draw me out, and we would battle until one of us is won. With our energy in so many, it has proven pointless. We cannot be destroyed. When did you establish such control over your rage? Rix demanded through Faceless's mouth. There was a time you would have welcomed a battle between us, not caring whether you won or lost. Only that destruction and pain were obtained to satisfy your perverse insanity. 1,000 years on this planet opened my eyes to what my rage would bring, Jezebel replied. The insatiable lust and determination of those hunting my energy inside others changed me most fundamentally. It made me realize that once I was destroyed, you would remain. I now have a different view on things, thanks to the small, insatiable Hartar who hunted without reason or remorse. And what of the Hartar? You were responsible for the deaths of thousands over the years while you raged uncontrollably. Have you given thought to what will happen when these people are made aware of your existence? They killed their own family members just to ensure you were eradicated. Once the news of your power reaches their ears, I will not need to find you. Those determined souls will accomplish what I have not. Why are you just sitting there? Faceless growled. You could move away. There's nothing I could do to stop you. Not a thing I could do to prevent it. Jesfeld wondered if this was the assassin's way of telling him to move, so he did not have to worry over his safety. You see, Faceless does not fear me. He wants me to remove myself from harm's way. I risk to return to the civil conversation with him if you are finished with this senseless discourse. You're talking to Faceless, Nis screamed. Have you gone soft in the head as well as in your rage? Faceless is the body standing over me, holding a blade to my throat against his pact of safety. But the thoughts and words coming from his lips are not his. And before you attempt to deny it, Faceless is more civilized and elegant in his speech. So I ask again, may I talk to Faceless? When you release me, I'm going to kill you. I'll not let this opportunity pass me by. Rix's anger and hatred were palpable. Jesfeld could feel the emotions emanating from Faceless's body in waves. Rix was controlling the assassin presently, but the eyes kept shifting more frequently with each passing moment. A bit of a push against Faceless's pride might just help him free him from Rix's grasp. I could have killed you any time I wanted since our encounter began, Jesfeld sneered. There is still time to accomplish just that, Rix. Faceless's eyes turned so quickly from the dull, lifeless eyes of a killer back into the ones Rix used. He knew it was only moments before Faceless' monumental will drove Rix back into submission. I would suggest retreating before Faceless squashes your control. It might be less damaging to your ego. Faceless took several, quite audible breaths. Jesfeld watched as Rix was ruthlessly crushed under the assassin's indomitable will. His respect for the killer grew exponentially. Rix was thousands of years old, and Faceless bested him in a single encounter. Even had his second sight not revealed Faceless's future, he would not have killed him. The world would be intolerably dull without the man in it. I was unaware warlocks or wizards could cast without movement or speech, Faceless said. Even prep spells require a command. Faceless removed the blade from Jesfeld's throat and returned it back into the slot in his sleeve. First-hand knowledge? Jesfeld queried. We were civil and direct before I was interrupted, Faceless said. Are we resorting to evasiveness again? Unfortunately, that was before I knew you could not control your power, Jesfeld admitted. I cannot take chances with the energy inside you retaking control and using what I tell you to his advantage. Rix is ancient, far older than this planet, and his sole purpose after our split has been my eradication. Faceless leaned back in his chair, crossing his feet at the ankles. Rix was responsible for what occurred between us, Jesfeld. Your reputation is safe, Jesfeld replied, waving a dismissive hand. Rix is not something to toy with. Now that you know it is sentient, you must safeguard against him taking control of you in his quest to destroy me. Jesfeld shuddered. The hatred that had emanated from Faceless while Rix controlled him had rivaled anything Nist had produced while using the Hartar for wanton destruction across the world. Rix yearned for Nist to confront him, bringing an end to their millennia-long war against each other. Thousands of years, unnumbered scores of people, and countless minds had given both Nist and Rix sentience. Nist feared to look too profoundly into its past. Suffering beyond imagining was never pleasant to review. Even in hindsight, whenever it would look back, memories of the atrocity it was responsible for would flood his consciousness, causing immense pain. and the host body that lost control over it for a moment would be subjected to everything the power was experiencing. Jezebel had endured one such episode in his youth and delivered a spell that would stop it from happening again. "I'll have your word," Faceless said. "Excuse me?" "I'll have your word as agreement never to disclose what happened here today between us, Warlock." "Nothing easier." "Also not true. I will have it in writing and submit it to the Enforcement Coalition histories. You understand." "I understand the reason why you are the best assassin in Los Angeles," Jezebel said, not deigning to answer the implied threat in Faceless's words. "Modifications have been done to your tendons, muscles, and bones. You also have incredibly powerful magic within you that should be impossible for an assassin to wield." "How long must I endure the evasiveness?" Faceless demanded. "Rick shall never again can take control of my mind and body." "You can sense magic, heal, and recover more quickly than most, right?" Faceless just nodded. "This is because you hold Rick's within you. How this is possible is beyond me. I have never heard of that magic inhabiting someone who was a killer. Rick's would not allow itself to be used for that purpose, or by anyone who acted in such a manner. But after this confrontation, the rage and hatred I felt coming from you, Rick's just might be as insane as Nist was before the hunt to exterminate it from the world." "Your word?" "Given," Jezebel said, sighing. "I was not always an assassin," Faceless reminded him. Rising, Jezebel could feel Faceless's eyes follow him. The assassin was so focused on him, it made his skin crawl. He knew there was no quick solution to repairing Faceless's pride, so he would give him something to ensure he would not be caught off guard again. Some might think it was the most foolish decision of his life, but sleeping with a king's wife was the most irrational act he had ever committed. Besides, he now had the measure of Faceless in his power.